Cabinet reiterates President Jacob Zuma's call for Africans to unite against violence and abuse of women and children. This follows the President's visit to Elsies River in Cape Town in support of the fight against Crime Imbizo. This once again highlighted the vulnerability of women and children in our society and called for the freedom of women and children in South Africa. The President undertook to return to the area to look into many challenges of crime and murder, especially of children, and how law enforcement authorities would improve their services to the community. Cabinet welcomes the release of the General Household Survey 2016, which continues to show progress in the implementation of government programs to improve the lives of South Africans, especially the previously disadvantaged communities. The statistics show that government is making inroads in providing housing, with South African households living in RDP or state-subsidized dwellings increasing from 5% in 2002 to 13.5% in 2016. The survey also shows that government social assistance programs indicate an increase from 12.7% in 2003 to 29.7% to 29 and 7% in 2016. There's also a marked increase in access to water, electricity, sanitation, which is an important marker for the South African government's ambition to redress the wrongs of apartheid and provide basic services to all its people. Cabinet has, however, noted that while higher education enrollments are on the increase, at a slow pace, only 3.3% of Black Africans aged 18 to 29 years were studying, as opposed to 18.8% of Indian Asian individuals and 17.5% of the white population in this age group. Only 3.5% of the colored population was studying during 2016. The survey further indicated a decrease of from 23 to 11 of the households that experienced hunger, which shows progress in addressing communities living in extreme poverty. Cabinet noted the quarterly labor force survey for the first quarter of the year that showed the economy adding 144,000 jobs. These numbers were offset by an increase in the number of job seekers by 433,000 people. Cabinet reaffirms its commitment to continue partnering with the private sector and labor in its attempt to address the country's unemployment challenges. Cabinet welcomes the launch of the refurbished Babelehi Industrial Park in Hammanskraal as part of government's plans to accelerate development and job creation in the area. The 42 million project is part of government's revitalization of industrial parks program and one of 6 parks that are being revitalized across the country for broader economic and industrial development. Cabinet encourages local industries and business to consider expanding operations to industrial parks to assess the various support measures which are available to further develop their businesses. Cabinet was briefed by Minister Malusi Gigaba, the Minister of Finance, on the latest South African gross domestic product, which contracted by 0.7% in the first quarter of 2017. This worse than expected GDP outcome is significantly lower than the 2017 budget review, which projected 2017 GDP growth at 1.3%. This has been attributed to, among others, the contraction of the manufacturing, trade, catering, and accommodation industries. The economy was nevertheless supported by growth in the mining and quarrying industry, which increased by 12.8%. This agriculture, forestry, and fishing industry rebounded in the first quarter of 2017 with an increase of 22.2%. There was also growth in the mining sector as well, over and above that growth that was experienced in the agricultural sector. There are green shoots from the country that leverage to boost its own economic growth, these including improving growth, stabilizing commodity prices, more favorable climate conditions, reliable electricity supply, and less volatile labor relations. As a matter of urgency, Cabinet calls on business, labor, and the broader society to partner with government to intensify a growth program and improve confidence so as to arrest the decline and set the economy on a higher trajectory to achieve inclusive growth. In this regard, the Minister of Finance will meet with both business leaders and civil society in a bid to formulate strategies to counter economic recession and achieve inclusive growth. Cabinet endorsed a full media briefing by the Minister of Finance to share with South Africans the interventions government will embark upon within the current budget framework. Cabinet further reaffirms the adopted budget framework for the country. The ratings agencies Fitch and Standard & Poor's affirmed South Africa's long-term foreign currency debt rating of BB+. This comes amid the minister's engagements with the private sector to ensure that the joint work of government, business, labor, and civil society continues, and that the pledges made are fulfilled. Cabinet reiterates that South Africans must continue to act in unison, especially during difficult times, and work even harder to ensure that the country reclaims its investment-grade status. Cabinet welcomes deliberations at the inaugural joint administration for the Common Market of the South and the Southern Africa Customs Union, recently held in the country. The parties agreed to jointly consider opportunities to promote Mercosur-SACU preferential trade agreement by including trade promotions, chambers of commerce, private sector, and their respective embassies and foreign missions. The Mercosur-SACU agreement provides local exporters with the opportunity to tap into a market of more than 280 million people. Cabinet calls on the country's exporters to take advantage of the PTA as local products are now able to enter the Mercosur bloc at preferential rates. Cabinet expressed regret at the decision of the United States of America to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. This agreement, which will be fully operational by 2020, is premised on contributions determined by countries themselves towards collectively agreed global goals. South Africa has called on the United States to reconsider its position and recommit to this multilateral process. The MOU between Novartis, the South African Medical Research Council, and the Department of Science and Technology paves the way to boost the volume and quality of clinical trials and build research capacity on the continent. The agreement will allow for joint research programs in selected communicable and non-communicable diseases to improve South African patients' access to innovative medicines and build the country and continent's research and development capabilities. Cabinet believes that there is room for more public-private partnerships and is convinced that these can lead the way in addressing the many pressing challenges we face. Cabinet welcomes the 2017 report from the International Congress and Convention Association, which continues to rank South Africa as top business events destination in Africa and the Middle East. This report was released in May 2017 in Frankfurt. South Africa remains one of the most popular tourist destinations and continues to top the rankings also on the World Economic Forum Travel, Global Travel and Tourism Competitive Index, as released in April 2017. Cabinet would like to see more South Africa's smaller towns and cities bidding for smaller meetings where they can meet the hosting requirements. Cabinet calls on South Africans to be vigilant of fake news, in particular the increase in false posts on social media over missing, kidnapped, and abducted girls and women. The recent outbreak in KwaMashu over fake reports of children being abducted in the area and the alleged abduction of a girl in Naledi, Soweto, by persons in a Toyota Quantum with registration included went viral on social media, which was later found to be untrue. These hoaxes, fake news, and dissemination of false information cause panic among communities and waste the time and resources of the police, who appeal to people not to repost and disseminate fake news on social media until they have been verified for their authenticity. Cabinet has noted serious concerns the media reports on the leaked emails that are purported to implicate ministers, officials, and private individuals in alleged wrongdoing. Cabinet remains fully committed to good governance, and at the same time, it also notes that persons are presumed innocent until proven guilty in terms of our Constitution. Cabinet urges all who have information about wrongdoing by government officials or ministers to inform the law enforcement agencies so that investigations can be undertaken. It is aware that some cases have already been opened and the police are undertaking the necessary investigations. All who are affected by the emails are urged to cooperate with law enforcement agencies. President Zuma has rebutted the allegation that was published in a Sunday newspaper that he owns a house in Dubai and that he has applied for asylum in Dubai. President Zuma has rebutted these allegations as published in the Sunday newspaper. Cabinet was appraised of the 4th Performance Quarterly Progress Reports for 2016-2017 on the implementation of priority outcomes. Cabinet's oversight over the implementation of the MTSF results in improved service delivery. This takes us closer to the realization of the NDP's Vision 2030. Government has made considerable progress in implementing its 14 priority outcomes and advancing the objectives of the NDP. Challenges affecting implementation and action required to improve service delivery were also identified. And if more information is required on this, we could arrange that Minister Jeff Radebe, who is responsible for these outcomes, would be able to assist the media. On upcoming events, President Zuma launched Youth Month under the theme, The Year of O.R. Tambo, Advancing Youth Economic Empowerment, with a meeting of the Presidential Youth Working Group. This brought together government and leaders of youth organizations who took stock of progress in the socio-economic advancement of young people. Ministers and deputy ministers will engage in various activities aimed at promoting youth development and empowerment. The National Youth Day commemoration will take place in Ventersdorp in the Northwest on the 16th of June 2017. This year marks the 41st anniversary of the Soweto Uprising, and the commemoration serves as a reminder that young people in the country were at the forefront of struggle. Cabinet encourages all young people to participate in Youth Day activities and make use of all the support and resources that government has made available to improve their prospects and advance their participation in the economy. The Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Minister Des van Rooyen, will convene the local government conference from the 19th to the 22nd of June under the theme, Young People Taking Charge in Development. The conference will launch the Local Government Youth Development Forum. This enables young people to review progress of local government against the achievement of the National Youth Policy 2020. It will also strengthen partnerships between government, business, and civil society in developing young leaders in the local space. Minister of Public Service and Administration, Minister Faith Mutambi, will lead the South African delegation to attend the Africa Public Service Day in Kigali, Rwanda, on the 21st to the 23rd of June 2017. Cabinet extends its condolences to the families and friends of the commuter who died when 2 Metro Rail trains collided near the Ellensfontein station in Ekurhuleni, and wishes a speedy recovery to those injured in the accident. Cabinet calls for the investigation into the root cause of the accident to be fast-tracked to prevent a recurrence of such fatalities. Cabinet joined the international community in strongly condemning the terrorist attack in the United Kingdom. The attack which took place on the night of the 3rd of June 2017 in the City of London claims the life of several people and left others injured. The attack occurred within a fortnight of the one in Manchester, where civilians, mainly youth and children, lost their lives. Cabinet extended its condolences to the government and people of the United Kingdom, in particular the families and loved ones of the deceased, and wished the injured a speedy recovery. Cabinet extends its condolences to the family and friends of Professor Babatunde, who passed away this week. Professor Babatunde Osotimen was the executive director of the United Nations Population Fund. He was key in driving the issues of sexual and reproductive health in Africa in recent years. He worked tirelessly to promote sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and young people in Africa and worldwide. He campaigned actively for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersexual rights. Cabinet congratulates our athletes, sportsmen, women for being nominated in 8 categories in the 2017 Annual Sports Awards, which was hosted by South Africa. The African Union Sports Council Region 5 is one of the 5 regions entrusted with the responsibility to develop sport under the AU. Members of the regions are Angola, Botswana, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Swaziland, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Wade van Niekerk won Sportsman of the Year. Caster Semenya won Sportswoman of the Year. Anna Botha won Coach of the Year. Mamelodi Sundowns won Team of the Year. Cabinet congratulates the people of Lesotho for the peaceful elections and further congratulates the Prime Minister-elect, Mr. Thomas Thabane, and his party on winning the elections. Government noted the storms that affected most parts of the Western Cape and the subsequent damage. Cabinet sends condolences to the families of those who lost lives and property during these disasters. The latest figure reported of lives lost is 8. The Cape Town Disaster Risk Management Center is encouraged to do its best in saving lives and property, including the Knysna area where there are raging fires. We call upon the people to adhere to safety measures. On appointments, we must remember that all appointments are subject to verification of qualifications and the relevant clearances. The acting police commissioner appointed by the President, Lieutenant General Lisija Mutiba, and the Director General for the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Ms. Nompumelelo Zandile Mpofu, and also the appointment of the DG for Finance, Mr. Dondo Mukhajane. Those are the appointments for this year. For further information on issues, please consult with Pumla Williams.